Motz comes down on these witnesses after their testimony at the inquiry for the Emergency Act. Please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and most of all, comment down below. Here's the clip.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, witnesses, for being here. Deputy Chief Bell, when he was asked through the commission about the meeting with protesters, said, and I'll quote, "I truly believed it took the temperature of the protests down, and that was a good outcome." And Mr. Kalakis, and I think that's how you say your name, is it? Kanalakis, close, thank you. You were on the ground. You were an elected or a city official that actually met with the protesters. Do you think it would have had an additional cooling effect if anyone from the federal government would have met with the main organizers, had heard their grievances, because after all, they were here to meet with government so that the federal government would hear their concerns with federal mandates and restrictions and how those were impacting their livelihoods? Do you think it would have had an impact on the protesters?
Mr. Chair, it's hard to speculate on whether it would have or not. That certainly was their objective. I mean, the objective when they met with me, when Ottawa Police brought them over, was they were quite clear about this. They felt that meeting with Mayor Watson ultimately, if they could fulfill their end of the bargain, would demonstrate and put pressure on other levels of government to be able to meet them, and that's what they were seeking. That was their ultimate goal.
And you're right, that was their ultimate goal. And unfortunately, I'm going to go to the statement that Mr. Mayor, your Chief of Staff, made, and there was a text sent back and forth to the Minister of Public Safety, and it said the following: "I assume that you must." This is so from your Chief of Staff, Mr. Arpin, to Minister Mendocino. "I assume that you must understand how spectacularly ridiculous the contention is that we could be meeting with them when your level of government trots out a number of ministers to denigrate the demonstrators and let them know that dialogue is impossible with this government of Canada, with the government of Canada, in the context of a demonstration targeting the government of Canada, but somehow we should divine that we should be meeting with them to make them feel heard. That's nauseating to say the least, but thanks for sharing, frankly." Mr. Watson, a quick question to you. Those are the words of him. Would it be fair to say that that's reflective of how you felt at that time as well?
Thank you, Mr. Motz, for the question. Bottom line was we are all frustrated because this thing had gone on far too long. Temperatures were bubbling up at the surface, both with protesters and with government officials.
But the issue is about government not speaking with protesters.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I can't direct a federal minister to speak with anyone.
But it added to your frustration.
Well, look, I'm not sure.
Bottom line, Mr. Mayor, is they put you and Mr. Kanalakis in a spot where they expected you folks to act and meet with protesters rather than them.
No, because the arrangement. Sorry?
You did meet with them. Mr. Kanalakis met with them, and not the ministers, not anybody from government did.
No, but we had worked on an agreement that if they moved trucks out of residential areas, which was my number one preoccupation, because that was the annoyance and the frustration and the angst by the public.
Sure, Jan.
With those trucks running 24 hours a day. If they followed 3 different conditions that are in the letter that I tabled with the commission, then I would meet with organizers.
Okay. And I understand that before the police operation took place, that there was an agreement in principle. So, Mr. Kanalakis, let me ask you this. As one of the only people willing to meet with them or able to meet with the protest organizers, did they seem agreeable and reasonable and respectful in their dialogues with you?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. The people I met with were reasonable and respectful towards. We had a respectful conversation.
Thank you. And I would assume that that's the expectation they had if they had been given the courtesy and respect to be met with by the government, which is why they came down here in the first place. Did you meet with? Let me ask you this way. Was this the only occasion that you were asked by someone from the federal government to meet with the protesters?
No, I was asked by Ottawa Police to meet the protesters.
Okay. Anyone from government?
No.
Okay. As one of the only people to meet with them, you saw firsthand what they were like. do you think that they would have, in your opinion, Mr. Mayor answered the first time, but do you believe that they would have been in a position to vacate, to leave, had they been heard by government?
Une réponse rapide.
Quickly.
Oh, I'd say no, because they didn't have control over the entire group of people that were here in Ottawa, and that's why we ran into troubles when we were trying to move out the vehicle. Not everybody was part of their group and listening to them.
Merci.
Thank you. Mr. Motz.